I've been reading a book recently about a saint who is living today. Mother Mira is her name. She lives in Germany. The fellow who's the author penned the book and originally had gone to Mother Mira asking her for permission to write a biography of her. She gave that permission, and of his own volition he went out, sold everything that he had, and spent a year traveling to India and other places collecting biographical information. Some of the information that he collected was of contrary views to Mother Mira. It wasn't all complimentary. When he went back, he presented all the source materials and the manuscript that he had created. It came back to him that Mother Mira was not in favor of some of the information, that people had told him lies, and that he should not publish these things. And then he said, well, perhaps we can work on editing this work. And the information came back, no, you must destroy it. Now, put yourself in that position, in his position. What would you do? And I just put the question out to you now. What would you do? You spent a year of your life devoted to your spiritual preceptor, writing in all good conscience everything that you thought appropriate, proper. You spent all of your income on this endeavor, and then the mandate comes back, not only destroy the manuscript, but destroy everything in your computer that is regarding to it. What do you think that you would do in that circumstance? Quite a test, isn't it? You think that you've gathered nothing but truth. What to do? What would you do?
There's no other choice.
So what is your choice if there's no other choice?
To destroy.
To destroy it. Does anybody have a contrary view?
Well, since you started with the inner guru and the outer guru, it depends on that, doesn't it? But I would agree, definitely destroy it. Unless the inner guru really kicks up a fuss.
So how would you know?
That's the path. That's the result of the path, isn't it? That's the goal.
So knowing the will of the inner guru, and if the outer guru is saying destroy it, I will add a further part of the message, is that part of the message was that a previous author had taken 2 to 3 years to write a biography. This was done in 6 months. I think the writing was being referred to as 6 months. You should also take longer to do it. Other ideas or thoughts?
Well, can't sometimes the guru, your outer guru, test you on listening to your inner guru?
It's been said to be so.
So
what would you do in this circumstance?
really go deep, and then if I couldn't get a instruction inside, I'd just do what the outer guru said, I think. Sometimes I'm awfully stubborn though, so I don't know.
It's a difficult task.
Yeah,
You've put your heart, mind, and soul into this.
yeah. But then destroying it might just be the really best thing, even though it seems like the worst thing you can do.
I think it's easy to sit here and say, yeah, just go ahead and destroy it when you haven't actually been working on it for a year.
Oh yeah,
And
there's
sold
things
everything
I've
you
worked
had,
on.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's, you know, try and project yourself really into that circumstance.
Does this have anything to do with the death of the ego?
Well, there's detachment in both
Me-
answers.
Meaning what, Kathy?
Well, having looked back at some past experiences, when I have found in my own life, when I would exert my will, which may or may not have been in concert with the spiritual leader, teacher, and then come back to submission, I guess that's the word, submission, and say, okay, I lay my life at thy feet, and nothing else matters. And letting go, I mean, from my view, it's an egotistical thing. Yeah, you spent all this time, you've done this wonderful masterpiece, or whatever it might be. I was thinking of the girl at the ashram who did those paintings. And Swamiji just completely ignored her. And yet everyone else is going, oh, you know. And he would, and I don't know if later maybe he did, I don't know, but that he did not give her that acknowledgement in terms of the outer. Am I reading that wrong, David? Because you were there. But that, you know, and to those of us who were not quite so enlightened, it seemed such a shame not to give her the accolades, But he was doing what he knew that she needed to have experience. And I'm thinking of other instances along this line.
So I think it is a crisis of faith, if you want to say that. Once you have accepted a teacher, a guru, you try to penetrate into the mystery of their personality, but more than that, what's beyond the personality. And that it is said that in surrendering to the guru, that you're surrendering, it is a practice for surrendering to that inner light. And it's a difficult thing. It's one thing to read stories about great saints and masters, and we read about their tests, and we say, well, the answer is obvious, I know what it is, you know, no problem. Until we're in the midst of it. And there's no handbook there, and it's not saying, well, this is a truly realized guru, truly realized master. Doubts are there. Doubts are natural until full realization are there. By virtue of the fact that we are a sadhaka, we're one who's on the path, we've not come to that full realization. And so doubts are bound to be there. And what is it that we're being asked to do? And as Mother said, that we always follow the inner guru first. We never go against that. That would be a worse thing to do, to follow some outer guru's advice. If our inner self is yelling out, no, don't do this. But is this really one of those kind of situations? This is, after all, not about being asked to commit an immoral or illegal act by the guru. It's destroying something that he's worked on for the last year. And so I think it's a wonderful example in modern day times of that dilemma that every disciple comes to. Because doubts will be there. And those doubts really represent our own doubt about the nature of God. That the ego's nature is to doubt, is to question. And there is a legitimacy in that questioning, but there also becomes a time of obfuscation. That is, a time when it's not really about search for truth. It's just, I want to delay the time of the slaughter of the ego. And I want to play in this creation a little bit longer, and this isn't about my search for truth. And there is an inherent dishonesty there within the sadhaka to become stubborn, become say, no, I don't want to do it, not out of search of truth. And that is where we really have to scour our own soul. And in doing so, if we're put into the dilemma like that, and we scour our own soul, and we clean out our own vessel, so it's bright and clean, and can accurately reflect the divine, then what we have done is drawn ourselves closer to the light. And in doing so, then whatever comes out of that dilemma, whatever comes out of that crucifixion of the upward spiritual force meeting that horizontal material force, the ego, then that helps to transform us. That crisis that's built up inside of us moves us forward onto the spiritual path. And what the guru is there is always holding out the light. And those things are designed exactly for us. And it puts us face to face with ourselves. And so surrender is surrender to that light. But as we mentioned earlier, knowing what inner guru versus outer guru's will is not necessarily the easiest thing to discern. And so it throws us into a crisis. But it's all for good. It works all for God in either case. The main thing is, do we do it with integrity? Do we do it with honesty? Do we do it with fullness of our heart? Or do we withdraw from the field because we're greedy? I've invested my life savings in this. I've invested the last year of this. I've put my ego into this creation of this work. I don't want to let it go. That's pure ego. And so we have to contend with that. And following the saint, following the inner guru and the outer guru, puts us face to face with ourselves in that way.